Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Mountain Minds Monday, a program of Tahoe Silicon Mountain, starting promptly at 5:02 as advertised. Today's topic, Stop Throwing Your Marketing Money Away, with Bill West from Bare Knuckle Brand Marketing. So first, a few things about Tahoe Silicon Mountain and Mountain Minds Monday. Mountain Minds Monday is our flagship program. We've been offering it for over 10 years on the second Monday of the month. We've been virtual for a little over a year now. Our other monthly program is First Friday at 4, which is an entrepreneurs roundtable. That happens, as the name would suggest, the first Friday of the month. That is on hiatus while we are still socially distancing during the pandemic. The best way to stay informed is to sign up for our email newsletter. You can also follow us in the Facebook group. So follow us on Facebook and you'll be able to chat with the other Tahoe Silicon Mountain members. And to learn about exactly when things start up, so you'll have it in advance from Facebook and email, but if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you'll get an alert that we're starting. It'll start just a few minutes before 5 on the second Tuesday of the month, second Monday of the month. And the other thing to note is if you go check out the YouTube channel, you'll also be able to see our past events, like last month's exciting e-bike topic. We do have a suggested donation of $5 even now while we're virtual, because we do have ongoing expenses as a nonprofit. You can just go to TahoeSiliconMountain.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a yellow donate button. Some of the things we're spending money on are bookkeeping and tax filings to keep our 501c3 status, various technology subscriptions that continue even when we're virtual, and newsletter and social media support. And so for a little, maybe 18 months now, we've been partnering with Bare Knuckle to get the word out to you that our events are going on. So we do have an all-volunteer board. There are 5 of us. You see our pictures here. There's always room for more helpers as part of Tahoe Silicon Mountain. And so we invite you to reach out if you'd like to get involved. All of this is possible because of our sponsorships. Our longest standing sponsor is Holland & Hart. They're our gold sponsor, and they have re-upped again for another year of sponsorship. They are located in Truckee and Reno and all over the West. Some of their values are integrity, excellence, innovation, teamwork, commitment to one another, diverse workforce, their communities, and living full lives. We have 2 silver sponsors. Mobo Law is also a sponsor and has been for several years now, and also recently re-upped for another year of sponsorship. They have a passion for helping people. They are proudly representing clients in California and Nevada and throughout the Mountain West. And also a silver sponsor this year is Bare Knuckle Branding. I'm not going to say too much just this month, because you're going to hear quite a lot about Bare Knuckle through our presentation today. Now, we also have quite a number of community partners: Nevada County Tech Connection, Tahoe Truckee Media, Truckee Tahoe Airport, who we're thankful has just re-upped recently, Lyft Cowork Space, which is where we're broadcasting from today, and the Truckee Chamber of Commerce. You too can be a sponsor, and this is how you reach us to do that. So without further ado, I want to move on to stop throwing your marketing money away. So marketing and branding for any business is a key component to its success, but how do you know when your company's marketing and branding dollars are being spent effectively and you're getting the impact you want? So in the presentation, we'll learn about the intersection between strategy and creative marketing, the distinction between branding and marketing and how they wildly influence each other, the good and bad of using marketing agencies, and how to make your marketing dollars have greater impact. As for introducing the speaker, I'm going to ask Bill to introduce himself. I saw that was one of his first slides, so I'll turn it over to you, Bill. And for the rest of you, please ask your questions in the YouTube comments. We'll store them up and ask them of Bill at the end. Thank you.
All right, thank you. As soon as you stop sharing your screen with me, I can take over, Ellen. All right, here we are, gang. Hey, thanks very much for having me here. I've been doing the promotion, like Ellen said, for Tahoe Silicon Mountain for about a year and a half. And you know, when the task comes up, I'm always curious what the presentation is and who the presenter is, and they always look so exciting. And the one on the yin and yang of e-bikes last week, totally different topic, and not something that I would be on one side of the fence, the yin or the yang of, but super exciting. And so just wanted to humbly say thanks for having me here. I think it's going to be fun. So in about 29 minutes, I'm going to hopefully demystify some marketing stuff out there and give you kind of a formula to build something a lot more effective and really a lot more fun and exciting for the folks that you're marketing to. So this is what Ellen was mentioning. Who the heck am I? No one really. I am a guy who owns a company called Bare Knuckle down in Reno. I moved out here in 2004 from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Won't give you the whole backstory from when I was just a little one, growing up on a farm. But really started my professional career after getting my master's degree in communication and journalism, and I was a persuasive speechwriter. So lo and behold, with how luck had it, I got out of my master's program in 2008, and the world was really ready to accept me and my speech writing skills. No, not at all. Nobody was whisking me away and taking me all around the globe to persuade audiences to fight the good fight or join a certain effort or whatever it might be. So I had to start a lot smaller than I originally thought I was going to. And that led me into entrepreneurship. So I took the skills in speech writing and addressed a need that I was hearing from my business owner clients, that they wanted a message that was more sticky. And a lot of them were mentioning ghostwriting and writing books. So in 2008, after a short stint going, what the heck am I going to do? I was working with a CEO who had some entrepreneurship acumen and was able to coach me into starting my own business in 2008. And I started a ghostwriting business. And we really did two things. We worked only with business owners, and we wrote speeches and books, speech campaigns and books. So long form, deep content that had to be persuasive. So I wasn't on the fiction side, helping people kind of finish their fiction project that they've been working on. I was all business, and it led me into what I do today, which is Bare Knuckle. So who the heck is Bare Knuckle? Bare Knuckle is a company that, according to the Reno licensing department, has been around since 2015. That's when a merger was completed between my previous company, the ghostwriting company, and a graphic design company. We were both small, we were both flexible, but we both offered the yin and yang, the 50% of branding over here being all messaging, copywriting, that persuasive language, that personality, and then the other 50% being the visual communication, the graphic design. So we merged in 2015, came up with all of our processes, hired, that kind of thing, and then started just going out, kind of, preaching our message about this is something that you can do for your small company that is typically only available for the big guys. And I'll get more into what I mean by that here shortly. Why me? Because we wrote the book. Well, it's an ebook, but we still wrote it. And this is available. I'll show it at the end of the presentation, where you can go and get this if you think what you hear today is useful and you want to learn some more about how to do these branding quick and dirties for your own company. It's real stuff in that book with real examples and stuff that you can do tomorrow. Okay, getting on the same page. This is Duke. That's our mascot. It's the Bare Knuckle mascot. He is the one who returns emails that come into support at bareknuckle-branding.com. He's the one that responds to all the intern inquiries. He's the one that responds to people that are, fishing for some employment. He's the one who responds a little sternly to telemarketers. So everyone here has a little bit of Duke in them, and they're able to kind of communicate on behalf of Bare Knuckle as this mascot of ours. Not so secret words. branding and marketing, they just get a little, for lack of a better word, they get a little bastardized. The branding kind of gets pulled by every different industry. Maybe it's even putting your logo on a keychain, is branding. Kind of, not really. The word just gets pulled around a lot with a lot of different meetings. So we're going to just give some real simple to remember definitions. And then when you're talking about branding or you're talking about marketing, we kind of are in two different fields. But like Ellen said, they really wildly influence one another. Okay, so let's do branding first. So what your brand is not, and this is just a laundry list that I'm not going to read. The last one's funny, but other than that, it's just a smattering of these one-off things that folks come to Bare Knuckle and they say, I'm looking for some branding help, but I only want to focus on the logo. And we go, oh, okay, I know what you're trying to do, and I have some really good vendors that I'm going to turn you on to. If it is, just a logo that you're after or that you're even willing to invest in, it's just not what we do. We certainly have logo designers on staff, but it's part of a much more comprehensive approach that we now have had enough success to where we can't think that we're going to get the same amount of success with these launching brands if we just give them a logo. And it might look nice, but it's not going to say anything about their business, and it doesn't really represent anything. The logo should kind of be the face, the first impression, but then it represents something that your clients can dig into deeper and deeper and deeper. So branding is not any one of those things. To us, branding is the recipe that binds all of those things together. It gives your business personality, direction, and purpose. So in other words, your brand is effing everything. And I think the effing stands for frickin'. Your brand is frickin' everything. So yes, it can seem like a big daunting task to take your brand seriously, but it's the criteria on which you make or against which you make decisions. So what is your culture like? What are your policies like? What's your customer service like? What's your customer experience like when they come into your spot if you have a brick and mortar? If not, what's that like online? What does that logo look like? What do your social media campaigns look like? Like there should be some criteria against which you're weighing those decisions. And that's what branding is. And that's what Bare Knuckle does really, really well. Okay, getting brass tacks here. Branding, consider it the house. It's your what, why, who, where, how. It's your criteria for making decisions, your rules of engagement. Marketing is then persuading people to visit your house. And it kind of happens in two worlds, the digital world and the real world. So again, branding, you build this really great thing, and then marketing, you bring people to that thing. So what we do here is what we call brand marketing. We first build the heck out of a brand, really deep brands that your clients your audience can sink their teeth into. And then we market that brand. So if you might be thinking, well, sounds like another marketing agency, that's fine to throw us in that bucket. But we don't take clients that come to us and necessarily, it could be a unique circumstance that come to us and they say, hey, I want you only to write a blog on my website. And that's the kind of little slice of content marketing. I want you to do that for the year. Well, we'll say, we don't know what we're writing about. We don't know what your voice is. We don't know why you would be persuasive. We can't help you make really smart marketing decisions if you keep us in that corner. Nobody keeps bare knuckle baby in the corner. Everything makes more sense in the pyramid. We learned that early on with our food groups. USDA told us what was what. Ends up that they were wrong, and they just bust down the pyramid whenever they, want to seem more credible, and then they build it back up with whatever they want. Well, we did that too. Look at us. So the bottom rungs are where we start first. That is where you're eating your spinach. That is not the logo, the fun stuff, picking the colors, the graphic design that's going to catch people's eye. We don't do any of that until we've built the really thick, sturdy foundation underneath. So I don't mean to fly through this. Come back and watch the video and read through this a little bit more if this kind of infographic is interesting to you. But since I know that I'm going to talk about the bottom three rungs here shortly in the next couple of slides, I'm just going to skip that one and go right into it. So we have something called the code, and this came from my days as a persuasive speechwriter. And what I found was these business owners were saying, okay, you spent 8 months with me writing that book about financial advising. Let's just use that as an example. And we then used that book as part of our PR efforts, part of our speaking campaigns, whatever it might be. In the messaging that is in that book, should I be able to get somebody to sit and read a full book about financial advising, is perfect. Everything is articulated. It's in I'm talking on behalf of a business owner. It's in my voice. It's got the beliefs in there, and it's got the passion, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's got my philosophy, is concise as a 200-page book can sound. That is not happening across any of my other marketing. Can you help my marketing team articulate the message like that? And I was young and dumb enough, fresh out of grad school, to think, yeah, heck yeah, I can do that. Well, what we found was these marketing companies, their brand guidelines, those were just really visual brand guidelines. Here's your logo. Here's your colors, your hex colors, your PMS colors. Here's some rules about not stretching and distorting your logo, and maybe a few other things, font choices, photography treatment, but everything was on the visual side, on the graphic design side. And I just kind of thought, well, one, it's much harder to have guidelines for language. That takes some heavy lifting than it is to say, this is the color yellow, and here's a JPEG of your logo, use it in these ways. That's been around for freaking ever. The language side is tough. And so, young and dumb, me and my team set out to create what we now patent pending. Everybody says that when they're not really going after a patent, but you're patent pending, the code. And this is the first step that we do with clients. And we've done, I could go count, but way more than 100 of these code documents since the beginning of Bare Knuckle, which was a little over 5 years ago. So we're at the clip of about launching about 25 businesses a year. And as we've sophisticated and matured and whatnot, we've started attracting more sophisticated businesses. And those are just a little bit more delicate than launching, let's say a realtor was going to go out on their own. That's fairly simple stuff, but we're starting to attract businesses that take a lot of thought. And we're so glad that we have this as our process. Got to eat your spinach first. Got to know who your brand is. Who it is not is really important. Get everyone speaking the same language. Everyone. So everyone on your team. Let's have them speaking the same language. And we've even, in going through this, we put on our glasses and fake mustache and go into places incognito. And we hear one thing from one employee. We hear another from another employee. The language is just all over the place. Nobody explains or articulates why that brand and why that business is so special the same way. We see, how do you answer the phone? Some people just go, hi, Jesse. Well, in your marketing, you're the friendliest, most convenient auto repair shop out there. And you're just going to go, hey, Jesse, that's not going to fly. Let's create some sort of guidelines for how you guys answer the phone. So everyone's speaking the same language. Your audience is internal with your team, but then everyone, meaning if you do this effectively, the people who are referring you or becoming advocates and being loyal customers, they start using this language too, and that is amazing. This is your brand's sticky foundation. So remember, it's at the very bottom. We don't move forward until everyone around the table, my team and the client, and the client's decision makers and team are nodding their heads. And this is like our bread and butter, this messaging piece. It takes from my background, and this is where all of our branding starts. Okay, some tone and personality. And then I'm going to start getting into some examples because we want to look at some stuff, right? We got this branding guy on here rambling on about messaging. I want to see some cool stuff. So tone and personality. Your business has information that it just has to convey. If you're a chiropractor, you need to talk about the kind of services, maybe a little philosophy and credentials. You just got to say that. But how you say it so it's actually heard, and then a level deeper, how you say it so it's heard by the right people. So if you want to get my attention, Bill West, I'm going to give you an example here in a second that just does not work. It could be that I'm not your right audience or what you're going after. But if it's boring, there is so much marketing chatter going on out there, and I'm in this industry, it's so easy to ignore. So if you really want the Bill Wests of the world, the mid-30s business owners, live on the West Coast, kind of, whatever, however you want to put me in a demographic. If you really want to talk to me, you need to know how to say it so I actually hear it. And I'm just using myself as an example because it's easier than picking on somebody that's on the other end of this screen. Okay, 2 things before I move on to the example. Avoid that professional trap. So when folks come in and they say, I'm going to sign up for you, we're going to start the code, are you going to dig into like everything that we've tried so far? And we go, yes, we're going to look under every rug and give you essentially an audit. Audit is a scary word. We call it a brand scan. Sounds a little scarier now that I say it out loud, but that's what we do. We look at everything. And I go, okay, you told me that your marketing just isn't bringing folks to that house. Well, here's why. It's not really saying anything. If you're a soda company and you say, our soda is sweet and tasty, it's good. Why wouldn't every soda company in the world be saying that too? It's 2021. Like popcorn always pops. Beer, for the most part, always tastes good, unless it's an IPA, but whatever. The tires on your car don't fall apart. They're good. They're quality. It's 2021. So if that's all you're saying is, I can crack a back well because I went to chiropractic school, see you later. Like, you're not even going to get into my ears at all. And that happens because if the business owner is doing their own writing, they have this trap that they fall into about not coming across professional. Like, oh my God, what if somebody, didn't think that I was credible to pop their back or crack their back or perform chiropractic services? Well, I go, well, you're a chiropractor, so you've got these credentials. If they're really concerned about that, they can go to a credentials page and look you up. They can look at testimonials. We can get your credibility across a million different ways. But if you're so concerned about, I've been performing chiropractic services for 10 years and I have state-of-the-art equipment and I use the most up-to-date techniques. Oh, who doesn't? Like, who doesn't? That's your competitor. You're just falling into that professional trap. Professional is not on one side of the spectrum, and then humor, wit, cleverness, sexiness, that is not at the other side. Humor can be done extremely professional. So when somebody calls me out, this happened, we sponsor a handful of different things. One of them was a program sponsorship for an event. Well, we got a couple pages for some fake bare knuckle ads, and they were funny. And I could not get this person to have a conversation about how it's not either professional or funny. It was not tasteless. It didn't have curse words. It didn't have, profane images or anything like that. And so that is just something that I need, usually to go over with a client and say, no, I'm not going to make everything funny. Chiropractor isn't funny. We're going to do it in a different way, so it's interesting. But I guarantee you that we're going to find more interesting ways to get across your credibility than writing a black and white, boring mission statement on your homepage that doesn't say anything. Okay, tangent over. And real wins. And that's the example I'm going to give you. You got to be real, especially if you're going after a younger audience. Now, I would say people probably my age and older are used to hearing things like, here at AutoZone, we care about our customers like their family. Well, bullshit. It's like, okay, I'm hanging from a cliff, and then this guy who works at AutoZone, his mom's hanging from a cliff too. Nope. Care about me as much as family? No, I'd rather you say, hey, here at AutoZone, we care a little bit more. Hey, here at AutoZone, we're going to help you in a way that you'd want to have a beer with us afterwards. Real wins. You got to be real. This hyperbole, it certainly doesn't work with the younger audience. A tale of two abouts. I put this together, what is it, almost 5:30 right now? I put this thing together. I had a few holes in here at like 2. And I bet you if I just go search for 2, people in a similar industry, I can find this example that I'm looking for. Sure enough. So I go subscription boxes, shavers, go to their about page. A higher standard for self-care. We are on a mission to create the absolute best products all in one place. Well, who isn't? Who's out to make terrible products? That's crazy. Another about page. These guys are real. Now it's a little lengthy, but yes, we're a small business, but we're also a group of real people. And that's important. We're not faceless and nameless. Every razor you receive is packed by April. Every email you write is answered by Nathan. And we're Adam and Adam. It's like, okay, I'll read a little bit more copy. I got time for it if you're being real and you put some effort into it. But just telling me you're the best and that it's your mission and that you're passionate about it. If you use the word passion and like you're in, you're a title and escrow company and you're telling me you're passionate about that, that's not going to happen. Case study, Full Circle Soils and Compost. When I show the slide, the kind of after slide, maybe you've seen their product. They're only at one spot in Truckee, but they're all over Northern Nevada and Northern California. Scattered messaging, really lackluster visuals, basic presentation. And this guy, he's a friend with him. We've developed quite a relationship. He was all over the place. He was just spewing, not knowing what to say, how to say it, anything like that. Came up with their tone. We talked to a ton of gardeners. And what do you know? We found out they loved playing in the dirt. They wanted to do that more than anything. Buying the dirt, and buying the shovels and waiting for the weather. That's all just to get to playing in the dirt and in loving their garden. It's their sanctuary. And when they were talking about it like that, we said, why aren't we using terms like that? Like, let's get out and play in the dirt. These are the best products to help you just play in the dirt and have lush, brilliant gardens. So simple and accessible. The guy who owns the company, that last one was his kid, is a soil scientist. And what do you know? He was marketing his products to other soil scientists because he was using this language that was just complicated and crazy. These products are amazing. It's just, it wasn't easy to digest language. Clever and fun, and then positive. We want to get those new gardeners. We want them to have success the first time so that they come back year after year after year. So we went through the code, we dug through all their stuff. We took their product list from like 50 products down to 5, and we gave them names like Punch, Protect, Boost, Soar, Kick. We wanted this retail display to grab you like it was selling Skittles. Bright colors, bright, lively, energetic colors. We wanted to get some humor. Hey, it's compost party in your plants, and little plants growing out of the backside of your shirt. Instead of just calling, Craig Witt the president, it's president, and he's a soil and compost mixologist. Like, just silly stuff. It fit their personality, and it really fit the personality and the wants and needs of their customers. Just other examples. I throw this slide up there to say, what we do across all industries, because we start with that messaging piece and we make a lot of those decisions in that spinach eating. So even if we don't know about it, now I don't have super complicated ones here. I just grabbed the first handful that we saw in our Dropbox. Homebound has a really complicated way to invest in oil wells. I don't know anything about that, but going through that process, I have to learn it well enough to then, and this one is one I did, but I'm speaking on behalf of my team. We have to learn it well enough to then package it in some marketing messaging so that others who know nothing about investing in oil wells get it, and they want more. Branding the boring stuff. Quick note here. The branding of your handbook, your employee handbook, your welcome videos, your how-to videos that are like explaining processes for the new waiters that are going to work at your restaurant. Those are all opportunities to be on brand, what we call on code. If the language is just the facts, ma'am, we're not doing it right. If it is just our mission is to create great products, we didn't do it right. There's no personality in that. It's not on code. So branding the boring stuff. On the left, that is an image you'll find on the blog about branding the boring stuff, which is on bareknuckle-branding.com. On the right, Virgin Airlines was the first that I saw do this, is the in-flight safety video. And now all of them do it. They all follow suit. This is from 2007. Just say, hey, Google, show me the Virgin Airlines safety video from 2007, and you'll see what I mean. They took it seriously to get their brand on something boring. Okay, success equation. Talking a little quicker here. I'm gonna wrap up in probably 6-7 minutes. The success equation. Success is so easy. Says nobody. But what we found is the business owner comes to the table with a product or a service that people want. It's good. It's a great offering, and it's packaged in this positive customer experience. Okay, you do that as the business owner. Now we do the consistent, seductive branding and marketing. And it's both of those things that equal success. We just too many times have had folks come in, talk a game about, my product is the best, it sells itself. And they just never improve the business operations. They don't invest in quality customer service. They just don't really do what needs to happen on the business side. And we could put as much lipstick on that pig as we want, and it is not going to be successful. The reverse is true. You got something great, people just going to find it because it's great? No, they don't know they need it. Years ago, subscription boxes for razors didn't even exist. Well, how am I going to even find that? You know, you're going to have to find me with consistent, seductive branding and marketing. We find success as bare knuckle for our clients by living in that area where creative and strategy intersect. Creative, you could think of, okay, I'm going to go to a marketing agency and they're going to create a lot of creative content and put it out there. But if they don't need to know about how the business operates, that we're launching a new product, that we're opening a new, that's like nonsense. I want to know all of that. But I'm a business owner as well. So I've got my own challenges as a business owner and things that I've learned. And I like the two to influence each other. I want the marketing to be making promises that the business is actually executing on. So I need to know what those are. So I like having those business conversations and then letting that influence how we choose to market. Where do you start with all this? You know, you've probably either tried, if you're on here, maybe you've had some frustrations or you're getting ready to launch a business or whatever it might be. I always say, hey, there's a few options. You can do it yourself. You're now a genius. And I spelled it wrong when I typed it in there, so I thought that was hilarious. You can hire some help out there. You can get freelancers, you can get agencies. We can talk during the Q&A about, you know, maybe some tips to find the right help, that you're not getting in this long, crazy contract and being kind of disappointed. You just don't want to have all these marketing headaches if you are investing in a team that's supposed to do what they say they're going to do. So we'll talk a little bit through that. And then you could buy us a beer. So we have this initial step. It's just a brand consultation. You could probably find other agencies that offer something similarly. Now ours is paid, but a little bit of information is, I guess what all of this gets across, this is on our website, is if you want to kick some tires before you jump into a contract with somebody who is going to be like an intimate partner, branding and marketing's got to be intimate. They got to be involved, curious, and really buy into what you do. And we do with our clients. You could probably find some sort of consultation like this. And since you're putting a little skin in the game, if it's a paid consultation and giving it some, you know, time, in our case, it's an hour, then you've got a lot richer, meaningful information and data to make your decision based on. Because you're putting some skin in the game. That means in our case, me and my team would put in some effort knowing that you're putting some skin in the game. We'd feel each other out. We'd ask the hard questions. And then we could decide if we were going to move together, how would we go about it? Free stuff. This is coming in the follow-up promotional material, or kind of the recap material that Bare Knuckle puts out on behalf of Tahoe Silicon Mountain. It's 10 bite-sized ways to improve your brand over lunch, and really like over lunch. Here's one of my favorite ones. I just took a quick screenshot of it. So sorry that it's blurry. Yeah, I said sorry, right? Okay, I'm sorry. Talk to strangers, maybe get in their van. This is great. You don't have to get in their van. It's just a cute way to say, grab a stranger, tell them about your business for 30 seconds. Do they know what the hell you do and why it matters? Ask them if they have questions. Write those questions down and then address them the next time somebody gives you some talkie space. It's a little exercise, but we do it on behalf of our clients. We grab strangers, usually in focus groups or whatever it might be, and say, hey, do you understand what these people do from their homepage? No? Okay, would you understand if it was like this? And we start throwing some language out. And we listen for common questions where we know we need to put answers, you know, on the website really clear, because those questions keep coming up. If you found this interesting, you can buy the ebook. I mentioned it earlier. It's only $4.99. That's the URL. I'll stay just for a second. It's got probably better, more articulate jokes because it's a book and I had a lot of time to think about it. I wasn't like talking and thinking at the same time. In Q&A. So that's it. So I'd like to see where the discussion might want to go. And if there are specific questions about brand and marketing, great. About Bare Knuckle, it's kind of an open-ended, if you've been on one of these before, the conversations kind of go in all different directions, which is great. I'm all for it. So please, with that, I will wrap up and listen.
Thank you, Bill. For those of you who are listening, please type your questions in the YouTube comments. I have some that I received via text message or past notes and things like that. So I'm going to start by going back to the title of the presentation. How do I know that I'm spending my marketing money well? What kinds of measurements and things like that do you recommend? Talk to us a little bit more about the focus groups and that sort of thing.
Okay, wonderful. Will do. The answer is multi-level, but an easy way to think about it, and this is what I think our customers, the feedback we've gotten for our customers, this is how I think they would answer it, is do you know that your branding or marketing company is consistently putting out marketing efforts? So if you hire some help, your agreement is to invest in branding and marketing, to pay a bill, probably monthly bill, however your contract is set up. Well, the agreement on their side should be, okay, you gave this to us to do what we do best. We will still run things by you for approval if we feel like they're out of the ordinary. But you should never have to ask us about frequency of Facebook posting or how come a newsletter didn't go out or whatever it might be. We should be bringing you ideas. We should be being proactive, being curious. We should be investigating your competitors. Like, that's the agreement. So if you feel like you're always pushing your agency and giving them, like if they're calling you and going, what do you want to do on this post? Oh man, that is nonsense. That is not a good, I would say that is not an effective use of your marketing dollars, having to still drive the marketing when you're not a marketer.
I'll just tack on to that. For Tahoe Silicon Mountain, working with Bare Knuckle Branding, we get a monthly report of what they've done, what the changes have been in our social activity and subscribership and that sort of thing. But it comes at the end with a set of insights, observation that they make based on what we've done for the month. For the folks out there who maybe are trying to do the DIY approach, any tools out there that they might use? I mean, I know one that I like to use is called PickFu. I don't know if you have others that you might suggest that are sort of for A/B testing at a cost-effective level as
Very
they
good.
post out messages.
Understood. Yeah. So I think there's two flavors of DIY. There's DIY folks who do it because they really like it. Matt from Tahoe Blue Vodka is he's got a really brilliant marketing brain. He also has to run this gigantic now vodka company. But he likes being involved in marketing. So there's some things that he still kind of leads and does himself. That's one kind of DIYer. The other is probably doing it out of necessity. I don't have funds because I'm a startup to hire an agency. I've got some pricing and it just doesn't line up. I've got to do it myself. Well, that is the hard conversation of, is that what's keeping you up at night, is marketing headaches and don't know what to do with your money and whatnot? Well, I don't think that you're going to just wake up in the morning and be a great marketer. You kind of live in this, and we help clients bring their bill down. It's like, you're the only shop in town that does that. Why are you spending so much money on SEO? You're the only one that's going to come up. Save your money. So if you are a DIYer and you're looking for some tools, find ones that aren't going to, make you feel so lost that you only use 1% of this monthly software subscription that you're paying, whatever, $49.99 a month. But it's too complex. You don't want to do all the data entry. So you're just using this one little sliver in it. And since it's a recurring subscription, you just keep it on. Don't do that. Find the ones that you think fit your skill set, maybe push you a little bit. And if you can't really, convince yourself that it's going to help you in whatever, you give yourself 7 days, 14 days of really trying it on those free trials, then get out of there. Other tools that we like, if it was on social media, there's some scheduling tools that are all right. If it's email marketing, don't get into a bill with a Constant Contact or some of the others. Do the free MailChimp for a while. It's pretty easy to export your list and start something else. And then for a little, I need a few things printed. Go with the ones who target to you and you think you like their marketing, because they're going to create like a small partnership with you. We really like a company called Sticker Mule. It's super easy and it's inexpensive. Everything's in one price when you make an order. Reordering is so easy, and they're nice and fun, and they send you gifts in the mail and stuff. So find those little things that will eventually be partners, and those little software companies that talk to you like a human.
How about books? Any books that you would recommend? Where can people sort of go to school on this?
Yeah. So there's marketing people like on the marketing research side, different marketing analytics, digital marketing that are way smarter than me. They've got beards that are smarter than me. So I am a nerd on the language side. It's what I built my whole career on. So I like Frank Luntz. I've learned a lot from his books, not one in particular, but he does have YouTube and whatnot. Now he's on one side of the political aisle, but when he gets into politics, helping politicians be persuasive, he is on one side of the aisle. So if that's not your side of the aisle, it might bother you. It's not my side of the aisle that he's on, but it didn't bother me. But he takes some kind of, I'll just call it pop culture marketing. He'll help a new product or, Pepsi or whatever, do these focus groups and dig into the language. And he did a really interesting one with an electric company. And he did this awesome focus group, and I watched a YouTube, and he had like a meter that went up and down that everyone in the group held. And when you got to a part in the commercial or in the speech or whatever, and he saw that everybody had a negative reaction to it, he would change it. And he got to the part where he was looking at the script and he could predict where there was going to be, some positive responses and some negative ones. And then he would go in and change that language and try it again. So Frank Luntz is superb on the persuasive language side of things. Not manipulative, persuasive.
Can you spell that name for our audience?
Yeah, I think. Let me see if I could put it in. I believe it's Frank, and then is there an N in there? Luntz or Lutz?
Okay.
If somebody does a Google search and finds out, let me know so I don't make that mistake when I say his name out loud.
Okay, so we have a question on YouTube from Jessica. Asks, how do you develop realistic KPIs, key performance indicators, with your clients? Are there any other KPIs we should be aware of rather than impressions, interactions, etc.?
Great. So I would say be concerned with all of the ones that you didn't just mention, because we think of those as vanity metrics. Did I get a lot of engagement? Did I get a lot of thumbs up? It's like, yeah, but did you sell more golf carts? That's, I want to see that you sold more of your product or your service. However, all of those things can lead to selling more golf carts. We find that if we have a month that we're running somebody's social media, we typically run, well, there's not a single client out there that we only do one channel. So we always do multiple channels for our clients. If they just want to say, just run my LinkedIn, that's it, don't touch anything else, we're going to do our newsletters, we're going to do this. The communication is so inconsistent that it just doesn't work. And so we tell our clients like, hey, save your money. If you're interested in somebody who ties all those channels together, let's talk again. So those KPIs, when a client gets so kind of honed in on, did we get as much engagement this month as we did last month? Well, let's dig in and try to find out why, but let's not kill ourselves if it's down a couple percentage points, because engagement didn't do anything in your QuickBooks account. On your balance sheet, it's still the same, but on Facebook, people didn't like and share and comment as much. So key performance indicators are custom with every client, but there's definitely some key ones, and you mentioned some of them. Those are fairly easy to report on. The analytics is pretty easy to pull, and you just hand it off, and then you try to dig in where you think it's worthwhile spending your time and your effort to dig in to see why something happened. But we go in that brand scan when we first start with a client. We go, hey, what are we tracking here? Like, are you consistently just going up in profit no matter what you do with your marketing? Because that's going to tailor our plan for you. Maybe we don't need to do as much marketing as we initially think because you can't handle that much more business. So we're going to say 2 new clients a month rather than as many as you can take and drink from a fire hose. That's why we like to work with the business owner and see, are you scalable in the sense that when your marketing is a huge success, are we going to get a bad brand reputation because you can't handle the business? You don't get back to people. You don't get your quotes out on time. Your customers are getting rude customer experience from your employees because your employees are so overwhelmed. Like, we need to talk about that so we can move in the same direction. So creating custom KPIs with each and every client that comes in, super important. Some of them are the same. Some of them are way different. So
the next question is about, say some of the folks on the line are ready to look for branding and marketing help. Do you have any tips on vetting different options? What kind of tests do you put the agencies through? I know you don't have unlimited resources to do, free work or anything like that. So what are the things that people can do to evaluate agencies and know that they've really got what's going to work for them?
Awesome. This happens quite a bit when people are kicking the tires, and like bigger companies, they will typically assign somebody to go get 3 bids. It happens all the time in our industry. And they'll call and we'll get to talking. I do free 15-minute conversations with anybody that wants to call. So buzz away, because I'm going to talk to you for 15 minutes. And I get curious and excited and ask a lot of questions, whatever. So they'll get comfortable and say, hey, you're number 2 on the list. I was also going to call another agency. Maybe they tell me who it is, maybe they don't. And I say, okay, a couple of things in our 15-minute call. What we both agreed on was this was really important. So grill that next agency and make sure they talk you through it as much as you and I did. So you're comparing apples to apples. And the advice that I typically give somebody who's out there exploring, and there's competitors in town that I'm absolutely in love with and they're great and I will send them business all the time. And then there's ones I say, hey, it's not that I don't like them, just stay away from them because they're going to steal your money. We do more cleanup work from that agency than any other one. So if you want my 2 cents, stay away. But I'm more than happy to say, hey, go get those 3 bids, because if we're not a good fit, we're both going to be miserable. And we do like to have a beer at the end of the day with our clients. That's how we kind of judge if we've done a nice job. Would we like to have a beer with them? Would they like to have a beer with us? Here's one really big one. If the agency, if they don't call you back, they're not going to call you back when you get in contract and you have questions and you're wondering where your money's going. So if they don't call you back, run, call the next one on the list. But here's a really key one. If they continually answer your problems and your concerns with one service, let's say it's managing your Google AdWords, I bet you $1 that that's how they make their largest margin, is managing Google AdWords. Bare Knuckle has one fee across the board. We have what we base on an hourly rate. We are going to put your stuff where it makes the most sense. Where is your audience hanging out? Where can we convert them easiest? We get paid for creating the stuff, the strategy, then creating the stuff, and then putting it out there. We don't care where it is. We don't have a media buying department that makes this gigantic markup on billboards. So we don't really care if you do a billboard or not. But if it's really going to work for you in our estimation, billboard it is. So if they continually kind of answer your issues or your concerns or the trouble that you're having with one catch-all, that's probably how they make the most of their money. And it's probably not going to be that good of a fit. We really like the comprehensive approach. We think that branding is, saying a million things, consistently, but different enough on a million different channels, and having the same first impression for a potential customer, whether they see you on LinkedIn or they see your car wrap or they talk to somebody on a bus. We are totally into that first impression being consistent and being good.
What homework can a potential customer do ahead of time to get themselves a jump start? What are the things where if they want to put in the elbow grease, it's going to make things more efficient and their marketing dollars going to go further?
Okay, sure. So whether you are investing in some marketing help or you're doing it yourself, eat your spinach first. I would ask and I've got a worksheet for this if anybody's interested. It wasn't one of the freebies I was giving away, but it helps you really think through things that have gotten a little meaningless. Like, I'm sorry, mission statements, but mission statements have just become this busy work that clients think they have to come up with. Look at your mission statement if you have one and dig that thing apart. Punch it full of personality. Make sure it actually says something, because if it doesn't, like that one I showed you, we're on a mission to create good stuff. All right, great. If it doesn't, then don't move to the next step. Like, find a way that you're happy describing your services, describing your businesses, put some language parameters on paper. And if you can't blow your hair back with, in my case, Bare Knuckle is a fairly sarcastic, it's not 100% my voice. It's the team that's built it over the years. but it is sarcastic and punchy, and we're all about the bad jokes, and there's a little profanity here and there. It's not crazy, but we'll say damn, it's not a big deal. But we have these building blocks. How do we talk to the world? How do we describe what we do? How does it sound different? And we don't, I would argue that you don't move forward until that is impressive to you. Just putting some language on paper describing what it is you're up to. And then I don't feel bad when I say damn and I'm wearing a bare knuckle shirt. It's something that's in our brand language, and that it's worked for us. We like having a little bit of grit to us. And so we came up with our code very early on, and you just watched how it's consistently been the foundation of everything that we've done, from the golf hole sponsor. What do we do when we sponsor a golf hole? Well, we do something punchy and a little risky, and we have some energetic people there that are going to have a little grit to them and be sarcastic, et cetera, et cetera. It's helped us make decisions after decisions after decisions. And all of our customers, I think, really know what it's like to work with bare knuckle. They don't have totally different experiences.
If you're inside a company that, if one of our audience members is inside a company and they think that it needs branding help, any tips on how to convince management it's time to look outside for that kind of help?
Tread lightly, like you're walking on eggshells. Yes. So a few different things that we do when we come across this. And we typically will have somebody reach out that has a concern like this, and they'll have brought it up to the decision maker, and the decision maker says, go find some options. I'm sick of hearing you telling me that our brand sucks. And usually it's that they don't have a brand. It's not that it sucks. It's just it's non-existent. There has not been any thought past the logo and maybe a tagline or whatever else, but there's usually not a brand there. So they'll come to us and they'll, again, get comfortable after we talk for a while, and they'll say, well, it's going to be tough to convince higher ups. And we go, well, let's not start with the whole shebang, let's start by let the bare knuckle team come in. It would typically be me and one other marketing strategist. And we would come in and just ask a bunch of questions. And then we would have essentially our recommendations that we would give back. And we do that as a service. And it kind of lets the whole team be involved in making the decision of should we invest in branding. So as they're kind of telling us their concerns, and the sales team is like, I don't have any materials. And the ones that I do have are from 1946, and they're copies of copies of copies. And so I go, oh, perfect. That would maybe not be the highest priority thing, but it sounds like you need better branded materials to do your sales job, to follow your sales process. So that's going to be a piece of it. And I think during that time, those decision makers go, wow, this is going to pump up a lot of things. It's going to positively impact a lot of areas of our business, not just that the guy is going to sell me on a new purple logo because mine is black and white and he wants to come in and make it all fancy. No, it's like branding is so much deeper that it will impact your different departments, your team morale, if it's done right, and everybody can kind of feel on the same page. And I always think that that's a pretty good first step, because I can, as bare knuckle, come in and be a freaking, unbiased listener around the table, just asking questions. And then, having worked with hundreds of businesses over the last 6 years, give some recommendations that aren't going to be, crazy or, out of left field or anything. So it doesn't have to be bare knuckle. You can just get a third party in there to sit, ask some questions, pull people together, and try to start diagnosing what needs to happen first for a real brand effort.
So I ask the audience to make sure you get your questions in. I'm going to ask one or two more, and that'll give you time to ask. Let's see, different personalities respond to different messages. How do you take a brand across different personalities?
Let's see, I was hoping I had a good example. You're totally right. So a company that we're working for is a very well-known surgical center in the area. Bare knuckles language would not work with this surgical center. So by all means, it is not that we just add sarcasm and call it a brand for our clients. Every brand is different. We've gone super deep with academic companies and ones where the stuff that they're trying to get across is heady, and it does take a level of sophistication to understand what it is that they're up to and why they're better than the rest. So everything is custom. However, here's what typically happens is we talk with a company, and I'm going to use it's a consultant who goes into higher education establishments and helps them better understand their data. Dry, right? Super dry. However, he doesn't have any marketing. He didn't prioritize his language. His website, the copy was, every page was just so heavy. And these are people typically that are looking for his services. They're probably in like admissions or something. They might not be a salaried employee. They might be. But I just let them know, even by reprioritizing and getting some more marketing type language at the top, and then if they want to dig in, we kind of feed it to them slowly. That's going to do wonders for your company, because I'm reading this, and I do quite a bit of reading. And I'm reading this going, oh my God, what do you do? I mean, besides kill people with the copy on your website, what do you really do? And so we go in and we say, okay, we're not going to like stuff a bunch of jokes in this academic language, but we're going to give you a way to reprioritize your marketing messaging so that your audience absorbs it in a kind of a faster, better, more effective way. Different audiences though. So another example, working with a hockey club. It's a travel hockey club out of South Lake Tahoe. Well, it's full of a board of parents. Some of them let their hair down and can have a joke and maybe sip a beer while they're on a Zoom call. And some of them know this has got to be just, there's no fun here. My kid is going to be an NHL player. I don't want it to be fun. I'm like, okay, the board is an audience now for you guys. We've got to, the brand has to communicate with the board in a way that they approve and think is beneficial. But the kids are another audience. And those two are looking at this way different. An 8-year-old kid that's getting out and skating and finding the freedom and the excitement of being out on the ice every day and the camaraderie with his friends, that's not going to come across by this strict, like disciplined type of approach. So we have to find a way to package it so it's exciting to the kids and it's lively, but it still comes across as, credible, disciplined and whatnot for those parents. It's always a struggle. Very rarely do we just have this one audience group. Tahoe Blue Vodka, it is in clubs, and it is, I see it all the time at the beach with 40 somethings and their kids are swimming and they're having a little beach cocktail or something. Totally different audience and what they need to hear. So you create your client avatars, and you think you've got a kind of a spokesperson for each of your main audiences, and you have messages that don't offend either one and also don't get super diluted just to please the other one. So it's a freaking math equation. Good question.
Good. Well, it looks like we don't have any more questions coming in from the YouTube channel. So I think we'll wrap up with a hearty thank you to you for sharing your wisdom with us and continuing to share with the Tahoe Silicon Mountain audience. We hope they'll all come back next month, every month, second Monday of the month at 5 p.m. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you'll get an alert when we're ready to start. Subscribe to the email newsletter so that you'll get the marketing from Bare Knuckle, letting you know what's coming up next month. And if you haven't had a chance to do so yet, TahoeSiliconMountain.com, upper right corner is a donate button. Let us know that you appreciate what we do and want us to continue to be around when we can meet in person.